Hi everyone! Building on the hand construction from video 1, this second part focuses on applying that knowledge to draw hands in simplified styles while getting in some practice. We'll start with some very simple shapes and then move into a more semi-realistic simplified version for adult characters. In future videos, I'll also be covering different ages, body types, and poses. Let's dive in! First up, Chibi Hands. For this style, we're simplifying everything into very soft, round shapes. Now, chibi hands might look easy, but they come with their own set of challenges. Because the proportions are so exaggerated, you can't always rely on realistic logic. Sometimes you just have to find creative ways to make them functional while still maintaining that cute look. As for the front and back views, keep it simple. Notice how the fingers are short and stubby with almost no visible bone structure. In this example, the fingers only make up about 1/3 of the total hand height, though you can always make them shorter, longer, or less chunky depending on your character and preference. As a general rule, keep it minimal. Avoid adding too many details like skin folds or even fingernails. On the back view, just a clean outline is usually enough to keep that soft, marshmallow look. Even without heavy detail, you can still provide clear visual cues. On the palm side, a simple line for the thumb muscle instantly identifies the view. On the back of the hand, a line that overlaps the base of the thumb does the same job. Also, pay close attention to the fingertips. By making the nail side slightly flatter and rounding out the fleshy side of the tip, you can subtly signal whether the hand is facing toward or away from the viewer. Next, we move on to cartoonish hands. When drawing stylized characters, the goal is to capture the vibe of the hand with as few lines as possible. I've prepared 3 variations here to show how you can change the entire feel of a character with just a few small adjustments. We have a standard rounded style, a squared-off version for a more grounded look, and one with a reversed taper, thinner at the base and thicker at the tips, for a bouncy, expressive silhouette. If you want the hand to look less chunky, just play around with the width of the fingers. Thinning them out will automatically decrease the overall width of the hand. You can also experiment with how they taper toward the tips. You can create all kinds of variations by tweaking these shapes. These are just a few examples to get you started. When it comes to the back view and the fingernails, you have total flexibility. You can leave them out entirely, hint at them with a single line, or only include them for close-up shots. The most important thing is that the hand's silhouette and level of detail should always match the overall style of your character. If your character design is minimal, keep the hands simple. Over-detailing a simplified hand can actually make it look out of place. Finally, Let's look at a more semi-realistic simplification for adult characters. Even though we're still using simple shapes, we're starting to incorporate more accurate proportions. To keep things clean, we can omit the bulges of the knuckles and keep the lines more straightforward. Side by side, you can see how the female hand uses more tapering and slender curves, while the male version leans into broader palms and more angular joints. For this example, I also tapered the female fingers slightly toward the midpoint, almost like a feminine waistline, to give them an added touch of elegance. These subtle shifts in weight define the character's gender and age even before we add complex anatomy. And here's a quick tip. Adding long fingernails creates an illusion of elongated, graceful fingers without actually changing the structure of the hand itself. From the back view, you have the same freedom to add or omit the knuckles depending on your style. If you want a cleaner look, you can simplify the hills and valleys of the hand silhouette even more into straightforward, straight lines. When adding nails, remember that those on male characters are typically broader and more square. For a more feminine look, you can make the nail beds themselves narrower and more elongated. Even if the nails are cut short, this vertical shape creates a more slender, elegant appearance. Keep in mind the scale of your drawing. Whenever you're drawing hands at a small size, like on a full-body character, it's often better to leave out details like fingernails. If the area becomes too clustered with lines, it can actually make the hand look messy rather than detailed. I hope these different styles give you some ideas for your own characters. Remember, this is just the beginning. In the upcoming videos, we'll be tackling more specific types, including hands of different ages, body types, and eventually hands in motion and various poses. If you found this helpful and want to support the channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to catch the rest of the series. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing!